Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. And continuing list week, 2019, where I am going to be going over what in my opinion are the 10 worst songs of the year. Oh no, Anthony, don't tell me you're gonna hate on my girl Iglesalia. The girl Sally Whacker whacking down the street. She crossed the street to say hi to me. No, as hard as it is to admit, that song kinda slaps. Thank the Lord. Regardless, 2019, musically, overall, has been a pretty good year. A lot of great songs, EPs, and albums dropping across the year's 12 months, but there's been some especially bad music too. Not gonna lie, there was a lot of competition to get on this list. I even flirted with the idea of expanding it to 15 or 20 songs, but I didn't want to put myself or even you through that much torture. I think maybe your life would be best if we just kept it to 10 and, just made things simple. So my list, top 10 worst songs of the year, let's go. Kicking it off at number 10 on our list is Jeremy Renner. Actor Jeremy Renner, but also singer and songwriter apparently. The stuff he's been dropping throughout the year, especially this track, Heaven Don't Have a Name, is some of the worst, most bland, basic, macho, personality devoid pop rock that I've heard in a long time. It's like Jeremy is putting all of his heart and soul into just writing advertisement music, and I don't get it. I really do not get the appeal of this. It just sounds like a boomer in a leather jacket riding one of those like tri-wheel motorcycles, and not one of the weird or cool or cutting edge looking ones, one of the big fat ones that like has all the carrying cases on it and shit. One of those. This is just so soulless, it's quite sad. At number 9, we have the track Spicy, with Charli XCX as a feature, Diplo, and Herve Pagez. And I really wrestled with myself on whether or not I should include this track in this list, because one, it's not very popular. The spread of this track has not been very viral, and also it seems like everyone involved is having as much fun with it as possible with whatever this track is, but I have to acknowledge the fact that doing a weird, clubby Latin flip of the Spice Girls wanna, and just taking various vocal sections from that and playing them out over this just, again, horrendous revision, and topping it all off with a bad music video where everyone's floating in the ocean and chilling with neon-colored dolphins and shit. It's easily one of the most harebrained face plant musical moments of the year. Despite how much I respect everyone involved, this was like something that should have never left, the dry erase board. It should have been wiped out of existence, and maybe the planet would have been better for it. One more song I think the world could have done without is at number 8. It's Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber with the track I Don't Care, which comes from Ed Sheeran's recent collaborations project where he crosses over with a lot of different sounds and artists. But this track with Bieber is one of the most offensively bland and pointless songs I think I've heard this year. Vocally, they have no chemistry whatsoever, and as I said in my track review of this song originally, the effect of hearing Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber sing the same vocal line, not even really in harmony, over each other, is basically the effect of pouring a glass of water into another glass of water. Except water is good, so it has to be something that you don't even really want to drink to begin with, like, I don't know, some kind of like crappy, terribly flavored seltzer. Just like one of the worst polar flavors that you could think of. Anyway, the bland production, the crappily composed and totally inoffensive and forgettable songwriting, the just completely boring singing and performance on this thing. The only thing this track has going for it commercially is that Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber are on the same song. That is truly and honestly it. It is painfully pointless and a sheer sign of Ed Ed Sheeran's incredible complacence in the tail end of this decade. At number 7 is another artist and another song that I never wanted to see on this list, but the more I thought about it, the more I had to kind of do it, and that is Sleater-Kinney's The Future Is Here. If some of y'all remember, I was not all that pleased with the new Sleater-Kinney record, nor were many longtime fans, and tracks like The Future Is Here is one of the key reasons why. Everything about this song is like my worst nightmare scenario of what could have come out of this Sleater-Kinney record just brought into real life, with one of the worst vocal performances on any Sleater-Kinney song ever, also one of the most tedious instrumentals, and a concept and lyrics that just feel like a Luddite's lament about just how bad screens and smartphones are and how they're destroying society and making me feel alone, when there are numerous other factors, systematic factors at work that are creating such problems like emotional and personal isolation in everyday life amongst millennials, Zoomers, and probably anybody else living in America currently. So instrumentally, it is off the mark. Vocally, it's out the window. Conceptually, its eye is truly off the ball. At number 6 is Lil Ak and 6ix9ine's Lanes. I guess if you want to hear some auto-tuned Latin trap that is horribly produced and features not only vocals from 6ix9ine, but the alter ego of DJ Academics, then listen to this. But if you have self-esteem and love yourself, don't. Yeah, this is trash. It's the worst kind of trash, meaning that, yeah, it's bad, yeah, it's awful, and DJ Academics and 6ix9ine are most likely well aware of how bad it is, but they know that they can do it, they know that they can get away with it, so they'll just like, meh, just pump more shit into the art stream because it will mean money at the end of the day, so whatever. At number 5, we have a track that is even more terrible, in my opinion, and that is Gunna's Speed It Up. I have made it no secret that this decade Gunna has proven himself in a very short time to be one of my least favorite rappers out there operating currently. He is so painfully derivative and boring. I just don't see the point or the appeal of Gunna. Just kind of seems like he's being shoved down our throats at this point. As far as the current landscape of auto-crooners go, it's not like he has a voice, it's not like he has range, it's not like he has personality, it's not like he has lyrics, but I mean, who the hell is expecting that at this point? Dude just feels like a Young Thug offshoot, and I don't really think there's much more to it than that. However, I do have to give the guy credit for spectacularly failing on one of these big singles from his last full-length record, Speed It Up, which, to me, hilariously enough, feeds into, in the worst way possible, pretty much every stereotype that people usually level against the current landscape of auto-tuned, mumbly, and kind of psychedelic trap rappers. Not only lyrically is he pretty much saying nothing of substance here, but he's not really saying much of anything at all half the time. He's barely rapping on the song. It seems like he wants to leave in as much dead air as possible, and what few lyrics he does leave in are absolutely stupid. Scotty, howdy. Beat it up. Speed it up. I am blown away that this is not a parody. This is real life. You know, it's one thing if a track in this style has a good flow or a catchy melody or a good vibe to it, but Gunna doesn't even bring that to the table. At number 4, we have a bit of a special exception here, as with these lists, I typically just focus on singles because if I focused on just any song that came out at any point throughout the year, regardless of how it was released, it would be nearly impossible to whittle it down to the 10 worst songs of an entire year. But this track, while not being a single, at number 4, Miley Cyrus with Cattitude, RuPaul, coming off of her newest EP, I just had to mention, not only because it's amazingly bad, but also the EP that it came from. Because it's an EP, I'm not really considering it for the worst albums of the year list, so I thought it would be more fitting to talk about potentially the worst track on the entire record here. And this is maybe a hip house song? Yeah, I guess it's got some groovin', clubby bass on there, and Miley Cyrus engaging in a really awful, painful, cringy rap flow where she's rapping about loving her pussy, having that cattitude. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I enjoy the sentiment of the track, but absolutely everything about it is terribly executed, from the lyricism to, again, the rapping, the singing. RuPaul is maybe the most enjoyable thing about the entire track, but RuPaul intentionally tries to be a little flamboyant and annoying on songs such as these to create a bit of a grating, attention-grabbing effect. Overall, the whole thing sounds like that really good old Zebra Cat single from 2012, I'm a Read, if it sucked. At number 3 on our list is the 93 Punks, Vic Mensa, and Travis Barker collaboration, 3 Years Sober. You know, Kid Cudi at one point, you could say, had one of the worst attempts at making a rock crossover in the hip-hop world. And then it was Logic with Supermarket. And then Vic Mensa said, no, I'm not going to let it go down like that. I'm not going to be the person who is sitting this competition out this decade. I'm going to make an even worse rap to rock crossover in this decade, and that is this 93 Punks record that he drew up. And this song from it is one of the lead tracks, one of the lead singles, one of the cringiest rock songs I've heard all year, with Vince kind of singing and yelling about, I guess, going from drugs to kale, and masturbation is in there in the mix for some reason. The whole thing just seems like it's coming from a really ugly place of insecurity, and I have a hard time listening to it because of that. And the more I talk about this track, the more I feel like I'm getting PTSD just thinking about the last time that I heard it, so I think I'm just going to move on to number 2. At number 2, though, we have a track that I have an even harder time listening to, and that is Vin Jay's Mumble Rapper versus Lyricist. Many of you may not know who Vin Jay is, and that's fine. It's not like he's a rapper on Def Jam or anything like that. He is a dude who has a passion for spitting those fast, fiery flows, and he doesn't so much like the clout rap. He doesn't so much like the auto-tune stuff. He doesn't so much like some of the triplet flows, I imagine. He doesn't like the current day. He doesn't like the mumble rap. And he came together with a concept song, a preachy, annoying, obnoxious concept song where he is rapping from both perspectives of the mumble rapper and the lyrical rapper, and they're kind of like, you know, giving their spiels about why it is they feel the way they feel and why it is they operate the way they operate. Truly and honestly, I have not been able to listen to this song all the way through in one sitting, I don't think. I've heard the entire thing in bits and pieces, but that's because every time I hear it, I have to just shut it off because I can only take it maybe 30 or 40 seconds at a time before I just want to rip my head off. As the dialogue between these two individuals is annoying and tedious and pointless, Vin Jay seems, I guess, completely oblivious to the fact that what he's doing is just as much a stereotype, if not more, than the mumble rapper, because the idea of there being this white lyrical savior in the hip-hop sphere is going to bring it back to the realness. He's got those real lyrics has been a trope since the days of Eminem. I mean, mumble rap is only a recent phenomenon, which will die out in time and be replaced by something else, and whatever that something is will most likely be rapped at angrily by white guys who think that we need to go back to some imagined glory in the past, basically make rap great again. And that narrative, unfortunately, will continue enduring like a fucking cockroach. And the number one worst song of 2019, in my opinion, it has to be Lil Dicky's Earth. Yeah, this track sucks. Not only lyrically and aesthetically and instrumentally does this song just sound like trash, it is a cheap, stupid novelty song from a guy who spent his last full-length record trying to convince us for a pretty long span of time that he's to be taken seriously, and he's talented, and he's this, and he's that, and he's being underrated, he's the underdog, and then he comes out with this. And it's one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. It's a really crappy multi-celebrity appearance song where singing about just being various animals and then relating that to a general nondescript love of the earth. Now, some might see placing this song at this point on this list as a little cynical or even a little mean because, hey, you know what? The song's for charity, It's for a good cause. However, I would argue that it even kind of fails on that front too. Truth be told, I don't have all the information and the stats on the breakdown of every single thing that has been done for the environment in the wake of this song as far as things related to this song. But going on the website attached to this track doesn't really give you much more information, especially as you watch the videos as to what we could be doing better, especially the Energy video featuring Lil Dicky, which doesn't really educate anyone on the issue as to how we are currently destroying our environment. Lil Dicky's solutions, and I imagine this probably also applies to the funds being accrued from this track too, are just not really all that pointed or focused in any way whatsoever. He's just kind of like, vote for people who like the environment, and that's it. It's like he wanted to start some kind of Earth charity or Earth benefit, some kind of environmental something, but didn't want to be bothered to do any of the research, and then just grabbed a bunch of celebrities to hop on the song and just give it a check of approval in the most, I guess, effortless way possible. I guess I hope and I pray that someone who's not on a camera or a microphone somewhere related to this is, you know, making some good decisions behind the scenes so this actually does some kind of good for the world. And I think we can leave it at that. This has been the worst songs of 2019. They're not good. Transition. That has been my worst singles video. Have you given any of these songs a listen? If you have, I'm sorry. I apologize. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, worst singles of 2019, forever.